Good morning again. So we have a short session to look at Toolkit, some short practical ideas which can help us to make our lives more easy and to carry this journey forward. I was made aware of a couple of issues which I think are important for especially those of you working in IT in this city. And I'd like to call upon two people to share their testimonials of how they deal with this. So one thing is to do with sleep, how to get proper sleep and how to get quality sleep, especially in your world where sometimes you have to work very late and sometimes leave early the next morning for presentations. So how to get quality sleep in your own program. So I think Gita Ben, are you going to talk about sleep? All right, so she's going to share a testimonial about sleep.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brother Yogesh. You would have seen all our volunteers, Sevadaris, whoever you have seen in the dinner, dining and kitchen. We all work in an IT firm. So myself, Geeta, and I'm working for Robert Bosch as a project manager. And coming to the sleep, so I stay at Kundanalli Gate and my office is at Adugudi, and I have to travel around 3 hours or so in the travel time, and my working time will be around 9 hours. So apart from that, I also have to practice my regular disciplines and how I can manage the quality sleep. So it is not just one day it happened, that I also went through so many health issues during the project schedule. Like brother mentioned, sometimes you have a different clients, right? We have US clients, and it's been like in 2014 or 13, we had to work for Polycom US clients and we had to work for their timings. And that was a time that I learned a better lesson to my life on my sleep. So it happened so that I was not able to sleep almost 3 months. I had to go to sleep therapy. I have to understand why my body doesn't accept the body clock opposite to the one which we are brought up in this country. So after all that, the spirituality, the discipline, what we are taught here is a regular discipline. They have given us a schedule. Okay, but I know this schedule may not be followed 100% for all the IT professionals. So I made sure that I made my lifestyle or my day-to-day schedule in such a way that this, whatever the discipline is there, I do maintain, but in a different timing. So first thing, the quality sleep doesn't come only with respect to the, time to time you have to sleep. There is a discipline for the sleep. I know that we have to sleep early and wake early. But then apart from that, what I observe in my regular thing is, anything, I make sure I practice that. Anything that is happening in the office, in that particular time, I give 100% attention to that. And the moment I go out of that, I will not think about that. And this was a regular practice. I make sure, irrespective of how the other people's behavior, and I don't carry that energy or that thoughts back to my home. I regularly practice that. Every hour I do take a break from my meetings, either while drinking water, it could be 5 minutes. I will ensure I'll take that 5 minutes time, and I will reset my mind that am I not balancing, or am I doing too much, or am I doing very less. And this kind of exercise I practice at office every hour. Especially I put reminder, I go to washroom if we have a restrooms, right? Sleeping rooms and all. I go inside that room, close the door, I just close my eyes or whatever, in whatever form you want. 5 minutes, go completely out of your situation. It could be a release, it could be escalation, it could be anything, no matter what. I go reset my mind and again come back. And that will help me to be attentive at that moment. And when I practice this and then go home, it means I'm not carrying anything to home. And then when I'm at home, even it could be 10 o'clock, I reach sometime 11 o'clock also. But when I sleep, I sleep. And for this body, the bodies are different. But for my body, I need at least 7 hours of time, and I will never compromise for that. Okay, I definitely make sure that I give that 7 hours of time. Once I finish that 7 hours, and I never think about my rest, my sleep, nothing. And I'll be active the entire day. So it is like complementing night and the day by the way of thoughts you make. So few disciplines that I tried putting in my life is always trying to check myself, am I going too fast or too slow, and resetting my mind, and then not carrying what is not necessary for me back, right? And then once I come back night to the night from office, I know some things will be running in your mind, what to be doing next and what not. But as yesterday Yogesh brother said, we all practice in our Brahma Kumaris that before we go to the sleep or once I come back, we do the unwinding. That is, we take a shower. Take a shower in the sense, just cleanse everything and then refresh in terms of mind. And that makes me feel that, okay, I am also playing a role. I'm not just project manager. I'm playing a just role, but rest everything is also there. So that's just part of my life and that is not my life. So that is the practice on regular basis that's making balance in practicing the Raj Yoga meditation, applying it in my professional life, and in profession also I'm absolutely enjoying my job. I have no complaints for my job or work. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, second major issue I've heard here is dealing with traffic. And I've understood some of you spend hours in traffic every day. So how to handle traffic, and I think we have somebody else is going to come and share traffic handling strategies. Is that you, Bharat bhai? Yeah. Okay, all right, here he comes. Okay.
Om Shanti. I work in entity data in Whitefield and I stay in Yelahanka Newtown. So from there, Yelahanka Newtown to my office, there is 1.5 hours of journey. So when I start, my cab will reach at Hebbal. So from there I need to board. So half an hour journey by local BMTC bus, and then from there to office 1 hour journey. So sometime I get late. So that time, what type of thought I need to create, that I need to take care. So that I usually take care. So whenever I start from home, so as I started, I just create a thought that I am a powerful soul, I'll reach on time. And as soon as I start and I am on the way, sometime I was seeing the watch, and then I again reconnect with myself, I will be on time, just calm and relax. Then as soon as I board my cab, then 1 hour more journey is there. Then I usually sleep, I usually listen good meditation songs or kind of good music. So at 11 exact, my cab will reach at office. So 11 exact, I have meeting as well. So in that also, if I'm in a hurry, then I will not able to concentrate in office meeting. But I usually ensure that I will be always relaxed and always calm. And as soon as I reach office, I usually see myself that, okay, now I already reached. If sometime by chance, if I got late, my cab is got late, if I reach by 11:10, my meeting is already started. That time is the most precious time for me to be in a conscious state. Okay, now it's already got late. Now what next? So we need to be peaceful. So in this way, I usually take care of myself, and I usually connect with God again and again in between. So now it's up to us that how we can connect to God again and again in between and be in a conscious state of self. Then only we will able to enjoy the journey. And one brother who is staying with us from 1 month, he is always used to say, आप हंसते हंसते जाते हो और हंसते हंसते वापस आते हो. So how you do that? So while return journey also, I'll listen to the good music or good things, good positive thoughts, which will help me to be in a conscious state, and it always helped me to be in a better sleep. Because जब हम घर पहुँचते हैं and after that when we are going to sleep, as soon as I reach home and I'm going to sleep, so but that time if my state of mind was like I am too tired, I am like that, then our sleep will also not be beneficial. So as soon as I reach home, I just connect with God once again, good night with God, then I go to sleep. So this will help me to be in a moment and always helping me to connect with the God. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks to both of you for sharing those experiences and hopefully tips which will help you also in your own personal lives. There we are. Okay, I have just a few simple things to share which maybe can help in how to carry the journey forward. The first one is to do with creating these moments in your day-to-day life just to recharge the soul battery. And yesterday we introduced the idea of traffic control. And so here is a visual idea of how this might work. So here are, let's say, 6 or 8 main areas in life in which we tend to invest our time and our energy. So what do we have? So for many of us, job tends to be number 1 or number 2. Family tends to be number 2 or number 1. Usually these two things take up a lot of our time and our energy. Then perhaps our social circle, being with our friends, attending social events and so on. Then perhaps there's some study that we do, perhaps an evening course or some other form of extra education. We may find ourselves looking after our physical health. Maybe some people go jogging or go to the gym or some other form of exercise. And there may be some hobbies or some time for some leisure. And what tends to happen is we jump from one to the other to the other. So for example, here I am at work. And I'm spending maybe 8, 9, 10 hours connected to my work. And then from there now I need to be with my family. And then there is an occasion with my friends. It's somebody's birthday, somebody's getting married. I have to spend time and take care of my friends. And now I need to go and give attention to that evening course which I'm following. And then time for some exercise. And then a little bit of time to maybe take care of particular hobbies or leisure activities. And so we jump, and then we jump back to going back to work. And then from work, okay, now I take care of the study. Now I need to be with my family and maybe visit some relatives. And then back to health. And then my friends are calling me. And then back to hobbies again. Then family, and then friends, and then job, and then study. Like this. You know? And we tend to be jumping around like a monkey jumps around in the branches of a tree. And after a while, this will result in tiredness and burnout. And just the feeling of, life is running away from me. Or you feel yourself being dragged along by life. There's no sense of self-determination. And this may end up in some form of stress. And I think for many in big city life, this is the experience that life is pulling me and I'm running just to keep up with everything, just to make the ends meet and tick all the boxes of having carried out my responsibilities. But I would say this is really no way to live. And in fact, in this regard, I would say that there are three approaches to how people live. Most people, I think, are in the mode of survival. When I used to work in an office in central London, one would go into the office and you say to your colleagues, "Good morning, how are you?" Most people would say, "I'm just surviving." Is it the same here? Yeah. Well, I survived, But I would think to survive, is that enough? Yeah? To survive is something that, a plant may do or a tree may do. But for us, we are human beings. We have consciousness, we have intellect, we have creativity. And we need to use these to have a better experience of life. But most people, I would say, are kind of in this mode of survival mode. Then less people are in the mode of existing. So to exist means to go through day-to-day life. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you are praised, sometimes you are criticized. Sometimes you are the center of attention, other times people ignore you. So all this gamut of experiences happens. But when you are in the existing mode, the way you feel is not in your hands. Your feelings, your emotional state is dependent upon things, people and situations on the outside. So it's a bit like your mind is in a pinball machine, bouncing off different experiences and different behaviors of people. So here, circumstances come first, the way I feel comes second. That's the existing mode. But the category that I think we want to be in, and I think this is what spirituality is about, is indeed to truly live. And to live means, yes, you go through life, sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail, sometimes people are the way you want them to be, sometimes they're not. All that happens. But in the living mode, I choose how I wish to feel. I don't give circumstances and people's comments a sacred space within my own self. I choose my peace of mind, my happiness, my positivity, that belongs to me, and from here I live my life, I deal with life. So here I realize that the inner world is in my own hands. A friend of mine puts it very simply and very beautifully. He says, when you wake up in the morning, you have two choices of how you're going to relate to the day. Either you can live with this model, you wake up in the morning and you think, what's happening today? And then, how do I feel? So what's happening today means what's in the news, what's in the traffic, what happened yesterday, how is the situation at home. You look at that and then the way you feel is a result. Or you can have another model. You wake up in the morning and you decide how I want to feel, and then what's happening today. You see the difference? One is where I am accepting the way I feel will be a result of situations, people's comments, other people's moods, and I accept to be a slave. The other is the path of the master. I choose I'm going to keep my positivity, my capacity to love, my kindness, my happiness, and from this position, let me see what's happening today. So in fact, we're making a choice. And I think to really live means to make that conscious choice. So traffic control is a bit like this. What's missing in this model, by the way? Sorry? Yeah, that's right. What's missing is me, right? Where am I? I got lost in the world of doing, and the world of having, and the world of going. I forgot about being. So what we would suggest as an alternative model is like this, that you should be at the very center of your life. Here should be me, I. And from here, you relate to the world of doing, having, and going. So go to work. Do your job well. Excel at what you do. Offer the best. Try and bring out your talents. But don't lose yourself in your job. Return to yourself. You are not a job, are you? You do a job, but you are not a job. But today, this is one of the malaises of today's world. People have become the job. I am an engineer. I am a doctor. I am a consultant. I am this, I am that. Actually, no, you're not. I work as an engineer. I work as a doctor. I work as a teacher. But who I am is indeed quite separate from that. When we misidentify or over-identify with the doing, then our emotions go out of control. We'll look at that in a moment. Take care of your family. Care, share, look after, fulfill your responsibilities. But again, do not lose yourself. There's a difference between playing a role and becoming the role. You play a role as a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, a son or daughter. These are roles in life, but do not become the role. You wear a mask of all of these relationships, but do not become the mask. Do not allow the mask to control you. Have the ability to step out of the role and come back to the eternal self. And the law this tells us, the law of love, for example, is yes, you should love others, take care, support, encourage, guide, be there, but don't possess. There's a huge difference between to love others and to possess others. And that includes even the family members. As we were discussing yesterday when the concept of departure or death came up, one day time will separate you. And so let us not make the mistake of forming unhealthy attachments. Where there is attachment, one day there will be suffering. And if we wish to suffer, it's a good idea to have lots of attachments. But we do not wish to suffer. We wish to live a life of freedom where we can offer the purest of our love to others, to family members, to friends. So with all of these, it's not a question of running away from life. Spirituality doesn't mean to sit in the corner and meditate all day long. Spirituality doesn't mean to be antisocial. It doesn't mean you don't talk to people. But it's about fulfilling your responsibilities, participating in life, being part of the whole thing, but here, maintaining your freedom. Not allowing anything or anyone to rob you of your self-respect and your happiness. And of course, it all depends upon me. The key to freedom is in my own hands. It's not in somebody else's hands. So this is what we call as the model of self-governance. Just like, in your organizations, some of you work for big companies, IBM, Microsoft, Siemens, Infosys, etc. There is a structure. There's an organizational structure, there's a management structure, there's a communication structure, there's a structure of authority, there's a finance structure. The same way, what about my own life? What is the structure of the energy of my consciousness? And this helps us to sort of understand a management system for the energy of my own consciousness. And so how do you do this? How do you return to the self? That's what these traffic control exercises are all about. Take a moment within the day, fix the time, as we mentioned yesterday, just to come back to that inner sacred space. And if you do that, you're recharging the soul battery. And then when you come back into interaction, into the meetings, you feel fresh, you feel focused, and you feel clear. Is that okay so far? Is it practical and is it doable? Yeah? I would say if this is new for you, then experiment with doing this for 1 week. The traffic control practice for 1 week. It really works wonders. This is one of the wonders of silence. Yeah?
That time suddenly we get a call from family. How do we manage to go back?
You suddenly get a call from the family.
And all to be friends.
Yeah.
How do we manage to come back to I am to friends?
Let me see if I've understood. You're doing your job. You get a call from the family.
No, I'm doing my job. I'm deep thoughts or something. At that time I get a call from family.
Yeah. Things happen suddenly, of course, in life. Situations happen, emergencies take place. And this is why one of the things was mentioned earlier. This practice of meditation or soul consciousness with eyes open, the more you do that, the more you are in a state of balance to be able to deal with sudden, unexpected occurrences. When it becomes a habit to be in this soul conscious stage, then you feel emotionally balanced. And when you are balanced, you can move in any direction to deal with whatever situation demands your time or energy. And with practice, you find that you're able to be versatile in your relationships and in your responsibilities. But of course, we don't live in a constant state of emergency. So the stuff happens, that's what life is about. But my ability to deal with it is, of course, what's important. Okay, let's look at one or two more things. And this is to do with what I really consider is a lifelong practice, a lifelong project. It's about how to handle people and situations. With every virtue that you have, there has to be a corresponding counterbalance. Any virtue, any quality you have which goes into the extreme is going to cause damage. And part of a spiritual lifestyle is to be balanced even in your goodness. So for example, let's say here is the quality of being in a state of self-respect. That's this side of the balance. What do you need on the other side of the balance? What must self-respect be balanced with? Respect for others will come, yes, that's true. Yeah, okay. Okay. We could say, of course, that if you have self-respect, you would not want respect from others. But what will happen is that the more your self-respect is, the more genuine your self-respect is, what will be visible in your attitude and in your demeanor is a state of humility. Self-respect and humility are two sides of the same coin. As is the old saying, when a tree is laden with fruit, its branches bow. Yeah? The more I am filled with genuine self-respect, the more naturally I'll be humble in my relationships, in the way I deal with other people. Yeah? Because I'm full of self-respect, I'm not looking for attention or respect or praise from others. This is a very high state of spiritual development, and it's a lifelong project. Now, for the most of us, we are too far one way or the other way. So, for example, what happens if you are overbalanced on the self-respect side? There's too much emphasis on self-respect and there's not enough humility. Yeah, this will change into something else. That self-respect will change into the energy of arrogance. And arrogance says, me, I have the best ideas. I must have the last word in the conversation. I have the most penetrating views. Look at me. Yeah? And so an arrogant person needs attention, because within an arrogant person there is a little child who says, please give me some love. Please give me some attention. Please give me a pat on the back. Please notice how much I am doing. And I think this is very common to see. You know? An arrogant person cannot say, I am sorry. Arrogant person finds it difficult to say, your idea is better than my idea. Arrogant person cannot say, can you forgive me? And so this person needs to work on the humility side. Too much emphasis on the self-respect. But then you may have a person who is overcompensating and too much on the humility side. So what happens there? Yeah, that's right. I think you've said it in different words. This will end up in subservience. Subservience is like the doormat consciousness. You know, where everybody rubs their feet on you. So arrogant person is saying, look at me, I am everything. Subservient one is saying, don't look at me. I am nothing. My ideas are of no use. I am worthless. I am unimportant. And the wonder is that both of these are in fact the same energy. Both the energy of the, let's say, the big head, which is arrogance, and the small head, which is subservience, they are two sides of the same energy. What is that energy? These are both two forms of of ego. This is the obvious ego. But this is also ego. This is also a denial of true self. And we tend to sometimes, see this or see the other, or with some people we are very arrogant, or with others we become very subservient. So sometimes there's this swing of this energy. But there are always ups and downs in our emotions when this energy of the ego exists. And getting behind that layer of ego is a big part of the inner journey. It really makes you free from a whole set of wasteful emotions which drain the energy of the soul. The place we want to get to is, of course, here. We want to be balanced in self-respect and humility. And then you really become a very useful human being. You can work with anyone. You can deal with people who are of different personalities. You can play the leadership role, or you can play the number 2 role, or you can play the number 10 role in a team. You're very versatile. And such people are very valuable team members. Think about this, that how do other people feel when you come into a room? And how do other people feel when you go out of a room? What's the energy that you carry with you? If you're balanced in self-respect and humility, emotionally you are very stable. And you have the capacity to give and to share and to help. But if we are not balanced, then our emotional neediness comes out. And then, of course, people, creates complications in relationships. So let's just expand on this to see what does it mean to live in self-respect. How to practice this true self-respect and get beyond these layers. Yeah?
Sometimes say we have practice self-respect, but mind goes to a sort of arrogant place. So how do you handle that? Because sometimes you tend to lose your self-respect during a discussion.
Okay. All right. I think also yesterday somebody asked the question, how to handle if somebody else is arrogant in the team. Okay, let's have a look at that then. There's so many things to talk about. I think we need 1 week for this retreat, actually. Would that be useful for you? Are you all interested in this?
Yes.
Yeah? All right. So let's just look at emotional dynamics for a moment, which will cover the question you asked. All right, let's start from the top. Here is one person who is behaving with arrogance, and this person is working with somebody else also with arrogance. They are both entrenched in the belief, I am right and you are wrong. Right? They don't accept each other. And so what you will see there is, you'll see a war. Right? Sometimes it can be a very overt, a very hot war. Sometimes a cold war. People ignore each other. People deny each other's existence. People don't even want to see each other. You may be sitting in the same office as another person, but it feels as though you are on different planets. Right? There's no communication going on. Then you have another scenario where one person has arrogance, dealing with somebody else who feels worthless. I am everything, I know everything, my ideas are the best. And the other one, I am useless, don't even look at me. I am a waste of space, sorry for my existence. So worthless. So you'll see there is dominance. One will dominate the other person. Interestingly enough, if one day the arrogant person disappears, retires, dies, goes away, what will the worthless person do? Well, either he will become arrogant with somebody else, or he or she will look for another arrogant person to make him or her feel worthless. Yeah? Yeah, it's very interesting how the psychology works, you know? Once you become comfortable with a certain self-image, I am worthless, you become comfortable. And to change or to grow is too much work. So you will consciously and subconsciously look for someone who continues to make you feel worthless. And this is not just work relationships, but also, you know, family and social relationships, which is why we say here, if you really want to improve your lot in life, the thing you have to do is to work on your self-respect. That will change your self-image, and that will change the dynamics in your relationships. And the good news is there is no one who can stop you from doing that. It's all an internal thing about your consciousness, your attitude. All right, what about if you have one person who feels worthless, working with somebody else who also feels worthless? Yeah? Peaceful. Yeah? There's not much going on here. This will lead to apathy. Yeah? Productivity is very low. Both of us are waiting for someone to tell us what to do. I have no confidence in myself. I need someone to tell me. The other one says, well, I also don't know what to do. So both are waiting for someone, and there's just apathy, there's just a vacuum, nothing going on, zero productivity. Now comes the point where the question you asked. So here is one person with arrogance working with somebody else who has this balance of self-respect and humility. Now, what do you think is going to happen there? Yeah, what's going to happen is the person who is arrogant will be disarmed. Yeah? He or she will begin to drop the arrogance. Because, as we mentioned earlier, arrogance is a state of insecurity. And this person needs love. This person needs attention, respect, and so on. And if you are balanced in self-respect and humility, this is a very mature state of being. And when you're like this, you will very naturally give love, respect, and dignity to the other without trying. You won't be a pressure. In your company, this person will begin to feel a little bit silly being arrogant. He or she will begin to feel stronger spiritually in your company. And the attitude and behavior of this person will change. That's what I've observed with senior yogis who I've known for many, many years. It's their maturity helps us also to become mature and grow out of childishness. Arrogance is childishness. But I must be very stable in this. If somebody is criticizing me, if somebody is making fun of me in the meeting, if somebody is trying to make me look ridiculous, I should not lose my self-respect. I should not take the bait and get into a slanging match, an argument with somebody. If I feel hurt by somebody's critical comment, that's my ego reacting. If you insult me and I feel insulted, that's my ego that's feeling insulted. But if I've gone beyond that, if I'm really stable in self-respect and humility, then your comments or your behavior or your bad looks will not hurt me. You become bulletproof if you are balanced in self-respect and humility. But, as I said, this is a lifelong project. The more you do it, the more you notice in your life the changes, the improvements in your relationships. It is the main journey, I think. It's the main formula for, let's say, balance and success in your life. These two things. Finally, if you have one person with self-respect and humility, working with somebody else also with self-respect and humility, what happens there? Yeah, peace, okay, all those things. There, you will see a mutual respect. I believe in myself, I value myself, but I can learn something from you. And the other one has the same attitude. I believe in my abilities, I embrace my uniqueness, but hey, I'm open to learn something from you. So both are complementing each other. There is no energy being wasted in competition or in ego fights. And when you have two people like this working together, it's a great team. All the energy is being used to move the work, to move the project forward, not in battling with each other. And then the mathematics gets interesting. 1 + 1 =? Yeah. Two such emotionally and spiritually mature people together do the work of 11 people. And that's the place to reach. And this is the work to be done. That's the attention. And this comes, through the practice of soul consciousness. The more I practice to be soul conscious, the more I reclaim my self-respect. Now let's just do a quick time check before we come to you. Please instruct me. How long can I go on for? I need about 2 hours, 40 minutes. Maybe 10 minutes or so? You sure? Yeah? Okay, there is one or two things to look at. You had a question? Yeah, you're saying if there's one who's worthless and the other one is like this, it'll be the same thing. The worthless one will begin to develop confidence in himself or herself. And I've noticed this with, I keep talking about senior yogis, but you've heard of, for example, Dadi Janki. Maybe some of you met her, because I grew up, around her for many years. Many of us did as kids, so we just saw, I look back now and see just the effect of having such a spiritually mature person. So many of us lacked confidence in ourselves or lacked self-worth, but the vision of respect for another emerges the best in the other person. So it's like, let's say my self-respect may be here one day, may be low. I'm feeling worthless, I'm feeling not so good. But the attitude and vision of seeing me here helps to bring me up to my self-respect. And that's why they say that if you treat a person as he or she is, he or she will remain as he or she is. But if you treat a person as he or she could be and should be, he or she will become what he could be and should be. This is the power of vision. Vision and attitude. You can unlock or activate the best in another person if you believe in them. And a person who is really balanced in this is able to activate the best in other people. Okay, so let's just come to what I was going to look at before. What to pay attention to really be in this state of self-respect. And this is really a model of identity, or we may call it the model of our ego masks. So consider this to represent your awareness. And what has happened over time is within our awareness we have developed various forms of identification. So for example, I am a man, I am a woman. So that's one identity. I was educated at such and such a university. It's another identity I'm carrying. I am from India, or I am from England, I am from this country, that country. It's another identity of nationality. I live in this particular city. I work as XYZ. I am rich, I am poor. I have achieved so and so, such and such in my life. I am good at XYZ. So what has happened over time is we have created these identities in our consciousness. Some of them are large and some of them are smaller. The size of that identity depends on how much time you have given to that in your consciousness. The one that you give the most time to, that becomes the biggest one. So for example, if you ask 5 different people, who are you? One may say, who am I? I am from India. I am Indian. So the nationality. Who are you? Who am I? I am Hindu, or I am Muslim, or I am Christian. So the religious identity. Who are you? I am a technician, or I am a businessman. So that one has chosen the profession identity. Who am I? I am a mother, or I am a father. So that one has taken the family role. So according to what you place in your awareness and you live with, that becomes the big identity. Now, we can also call these as our ego masks. And where there is ego, there's always going to be some kind of emotional reaction. And so what happens as you go through day-to-day life, you will experience at some point some kind of attack on one of your ego masks. So for example, let's say you are a good cook. Any good cooks here, by the way? Okay, a few very humble people here. Now, it's good to be a good cook. It's good to do everything well. But let's say I make it into an ego mask. I am a good cook. And it becomes part of the way, the basis of me feeling good about myself. So let's say one day, you're a good cook, we all come to your house to have lunch. And you have spent 3 hours cooking. So we all sit down, ready to have the food you have cooked. And we take the first bite of food that you have cooked, and we spit it out. We say, oh, that's terrible. That's horrible. Did you cook this? Now, how might you feel? You may feel depressed, you may feel upset, you may feel embarrassed, or you may say, there is the door, you can leave now. So in other words, there will be some kind of emotional reaction. All emotional reactions are the result of a perceived attack on one of my ego masks. Where there is ego, there will be ego-based emotions. And then we get lost in trying to deal with our emotions. All of these are different forms of ego. The nationality is a big one for many people. Religion is a big one. Or the family you come from, the family name is a big one. And so what we're learning here is, if you really want to have true self-respect, not respect based upon the ego masks, but true self-respect is live from here. Right in the very center of your consciousness is the true self, the eternal self, the divine self, or that which we have called as the soul. Live from here. Do not live from these ego masks. What is there within the true self or the divine self? There is already there peace. There is already love. There is already joy, strength, and all the qualities that Suman Bain had mentioned earlier, the divine qualities of the soul. So this means as you go through day-to-day life, it's not just in meditation, but every single moment, try to be in that awareness of seeing yourself as the shining star in the forehead, and be in that awareness. I am a peaceful soul. I am a powerful soul. I am a loveful soul. What will happen then is your need for security will come from here. You will not look for security through the ego masks. Why do we develop ego masks in the first place? Because we feel insecure. The more you live from here, what's going to happen is these ego masks will begin to dissolve. You no longer need the ego mask to make you feel important, to make you feel valuable, because all of that is now coming from the eternal self. And you will notice this in your day-to-day life. You are becoming more emotionally stable. In situations where you used to get upset before, now you feel a lot more stable. Before, where you used to get nervous, now you're a lot more cool. Or before, somebody who used to make you feel like you are trash with certain comments, now he or she says the same things, but it doesn't bother you anymore. It is like water off a duck's back. So you will notice these signs in your practical life, how your peace of mind, your happiness, is coming into your own hands. Now, of course, the smaller ego masks are easier to deal with. The big ones that you have spent a lot of time in building up, the big ones, they will fight with you. They will wrestle with you. That's called the spiritual battlefield. Right? That is the real, the inner spiritual battle. It's not between you and somebody else. It's between you, the true you, and this false you, which you have spent years building up. But victory is guaranteed as we continue to work on the self. Even the big ego masks eventually do dissolve. And that, sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen, that is freedom. Doesn't it look nice? Freedom from what? Freedom from fear, freedom from getting upset, freedom from feeling manipulated, freedom from being negatively influenced, you know, freedom from anger, freedom from jealousy, freedom from guilt. All of those shame, all those big emotions which we find difficult to handle, the root of all those emotions is ego. The more I live in true self-respect, the less the ego becomes and eventually disappears. And furthermore, what you notice is the energy which is locked into the ego masks, that energy comes back to you. And it makes you very powerful. And then your whole being is filled with these qualities. That peace, that love, that joy fills you. So you become a peaceful person. You become a loveful person. You become a joyful person. As a friend of mine once said, don't love, be love. Can you feel the difference? Don't love, be love. One is a doing thing. You are loving because somebody is nice to you, somebody gives you attention, somebody helps you. But the other is being love. You are being it. You carry it with you wherever you go. And so from you, you carry these beautiful, positive qualities with you, and not just carrying them with you, but they radiate out from you. In your life, in your relationships, in your workplace, and you become an extremely useful human being when you're able to care and distribute this positive spiritual energy wherever you go, whether you're with people you know, you don't know, strangers. Every soul, everyone wants to experience these things. And you activate these in others too when you are in their presence. Okay, I think I should stop there.